Hello dear friends, and welcome back to our channel, the place where we don't just talk about the royals, we peel back the gold-embroidered curtains and give you a front-row seat to the whispers, the maneuvering, and sometimes the quiet heartbreak playing out behind those majestic palace walls. And today, oh do we have something that's going to keep the entire world leaning forward. Because right now, somewhere between the ancient stones of Windsor and the gilded offices of Whitehall, a plan is unfurling that could shape the monarchy's image for years to come. It involves the king, a former US president who never fails to stir headlines, the soft power of centuries-old pageantry, and beneath it all, the fragile health and complicated family loyalties that make this spectacle so very human. Yes, it's official at last. After weeks of pointed, no comments, carefully chosen words by royal press secretaries, and that telltale trickle of leaks to the more cooperative papers, Buckingham Palace has dropped the news like a polished diamond into the world's waiting hands. King Charles III will host Donald and Melania Trump on a 3-day state visit this September. From the 17th to the 19th, to be precise. And my word, are there layers upon layers to this announcement. Now, the palace statement itself was classic royal understatement, cool, elegant, barely a ripple on the surface. They confirmed the dates, they confirmed the invitation, and they confirmed that it'll be a full state visit, the highest diplomatic honor Britain can bestow. But as any seasoned royal watcher knows, these one-paragraph communiques hide novels of meaning. Because while Charles's courtiers would love us all to picture a stately series of formal toasts and delicately choreographed handshakes, the truth is, everyone from royal insiders to White House strategists is keenly aware of what's at stake here. This isn't simply about reaffirming the special relationship or setting a glittering table for the cameras. It's about showing that Britain's monarchy, even under a king who's been dogged by health concerns, is still the world's gold standard for soft power diplomacy. And the decision to hold this royal showdown at Windsor Castle. Now that's a delicious little wrinkle. You see, Windsor isn't just a lovely stand-in, because Buckingham's pipes are being torn out, and its antique wiring is finally being updated. It's a fortress, literally. Nearly 1,000 years old, built by William the Conqueror, expanded by generations of monarchs, who needed sturdy walls in times of turmoil. It's where Elizabeth II retreated during the Blitz, where she and Philip spent countless private weekends away from London's grinding spotlight. And now, it's set to become the stage for King Charles's most high-profile diplomatic moment yet. Imagine the visuals already being plotted by royal aides. Trump's motorcade snaking up the Long Walk, past rolling green meadows and the towers that have seen wars, plague, abdications and coronations. Inside, under cavernous ceilings watched over by medieval banners, Charles will greet the former president not as a politician, but as the living embodiment of Britain itself. For Charles, still proving himself after a lifetime as heir, it's a chance to step fully into the kingly light his mother once owned so effortlessly. But Windsor also means control. No public masses pressing up against barriers, no potential for unscripted jeers, or awkward street protests to overshadow the spectacle. By keeping things inside the walls of Windsor, they can orchestrate every footstep, every camera angle, every trumpet flourish. And speaking of orchestration, did you catch that intriguing omission? Unlike many past state visits by global leaders, there will be no ceremonial carriage procession down the mall. No gleaming horse-drawn coaches rolling under Nelson's column, no roaring crowds waving little Union Jacks. That's long been the most iconic photo op of any state visit to Britain. Think of Obama and Michelle's radiant smiles from the Irish state coach. Think of Chinese presidents waving stiffly as scarlet-coated footmen snapped the reins. For Trump's return, that signature flourish is off the menu. Officially, it's all about logistics. Buckingham is a construction site, Windsor is the practical alternative, and London's streets are perpetually clogged these days. But among the more cynical palace whisperers, there's talk of risk mitigation, a discreet way to avoid both security headaches and any chance of jeering crowds disrupting the regal script. Because make no mistake, Britain's relationship with Trump remains complicated, and palace advisors are determined not to let street drama steal the headlines from Charles's carefully curated moment. And if we're playing the comparison game, well, how times have changed since Trump's last regal adventure back in 2019. Then, it was Queen Elizabeth presiding, her very presence smoothing awkwardness, and lending the whole affair that unbeatable aura of royal gravitas. The banquet was at Buckingham, the horses were out in force, and every speech was combed over for coded nods to alliance. Charles, then Prince of Wales, loomed in the background, dutiful but secondary. Now the spotlight is his alone. And it comes at a moment when his own story is far more complicated than a simple tale of hereditary rule. In just a year and a half on the throne, Charles has navigated the emotional earthquake of losing his mother, the nagging shadows of his brother Andrew's disgrace, and most painfully for him, a quiet yet relentless battle with cancer that has sometimes left him visibly weakened. This visit isn't just about diplomatic theatre. It's about reaffirming his monarchy's strength at a time when fragility is an open secret. Meanwhile, quietly orbiting all this are William and Catherine, the monarchy's ace cards, who've become more than just heirs in waiting. Catherine's recent health struggles have only made her more cherished by the public, and whenever she steps into view, there's that sharp collective intake of breath. How is she really doing? William, increasingly hands-on with day-to-day palace management, is said to be watching the Trump planning closely, keen to ensure that none of these flashy optics overshadow his wife's delicate path back to full engagements. And here's where it gets even juicier. Not so long ago, insiders were leaking plans for a far more intimate prelude to this grand state affair. Word was that Trump might have dropped by Balmoral last summer, yes, the Queen's beloved Highland hideaway, the place of family barbecues and tartan-cushioned drawing rooms. It would have been Charles's attempt to blend personal warmth with early diplomacy, maybe even test the waters before a splashier state visit. But suddenly, that plan vanished like mist on the Scottish hills. Why? Because Downing Street and the palace decided, if you're going to roll out the royal red carpet, go all in. Forget casual fireside chats. This is about pageantry on the grandest stage, under the eyes of the entire watching world. And so the chess pieces are moving. The kitchens at Windsor are likely already testing menus. The yeoman warders are brushing up on ceremonial drills. Somewhere, deep inside the palace, aides are rehearsing exactly how Charles and Trump will stand, walk, toast, every tiny interaction calibrated to send the right signals of alliance, respect, maybe even camaraderie. But beyond the carefully lit halls and the official communiques, there's that pulsing undercurrent of vulnerability that makes this more than a diplomatic set piece. It's about a king eager to prove his monarchy's resilience. About a family that's still weathering private pain even as it polishes the silver for state banquets. And about the strange, potent dance between royalty and Republican power, how each side uses the other to shore up their own legitimacy in the eyes of a restless public. So what do you think, dear watchers of crowns and courtships? Is this upcoming spectacle at Windsor a savvy play by Charles to solidify Britain's stature? Or is it a delicate gamble that could just as easily slip into awkwardness under the flash of the cameras? Do you suspect Catherine will make a luminous appearance that effortlessly steals every headline? Or will she and William play it cautious, letting the king have his moment without overshadowing it with their undeniable star wattage? Whatever happens, you can bet your last scone that we'll be right here to break it all down for you. Every loaded glance, every stray whisper from palace corridors, every glittering photo that gets the world talking. So go ahead and drop your thoughts below. You know we absolutely live for your takes on these royal dramas. If you loved pulling back the curtain with us today, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and ring that little bell so you're first to know when we spill the next round of royal tea. Thank you for being here, dear friends. Keep your eyes on Windsor, because that old stone castle is about to become the center of the world.